Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Android Central podcast, I think. It's episode 173 for Friday, March 7th, 2014. And if we seem a little out of sorts, it's because we are. I went to fire up. I'm Phil Nickinson, by the way, the host of whatever and editor of AndroidCentral.com. So I went to fire up the old Google Plus Hangout a few minutes ago to do the Android Central podcast and to do it from the Android Central account. Which, makes sense, right? That's where you would do this sort of thing. And it said, let me find my my screenshot. It said, "Oh, I'm sorry, your account has to be in good standing to do a Hangout on air." And I said, well, first I've heard of it not being in good standing. Let's check this out. And I know we've all heard horror stories of copyright disputes, but this is the first time I've hit one. And, I mean, I don't have our YouTube email coming directly to me because you can imagine how much of a shit show that is. It's not good. So I'll have to go back and through it and see if there's actually something that told us that. But it looks like the International Olympic Committee flagged a video from 2010 of an Adobe developer conference that I went to. It was like a 2-day thing I went to in San Francisco, and they showed us. I want to say, and I need to go back and watch the video, I guess, an early build of Google TV back when it was running Flash, and that's why they were showing us. So they showed us, I guess it was 4 years ago, so they were showing Olympic basketball for like, I don't know how many seconds. And so that's what the International Olympic Committee has flagged and keeping us from doing a proper podcast.
You pirate, come on.
Oh, my God.
You're a scofflaw.
And it's like, I heard nothing about this until like 10 minutes before we were going to do the podcast. So we've been dealing with that. That's why for everybody, the few people who are watching live now, that's what happened there. And I apologize because I know it's a huge pain in the ass if that Hangout link changes. And I'm sure there are people trying to find it on Google Plus right now and yelling. And I think we did everything we could in the time we needed to do it in. So I'm not going to let Google get the best of us today, I think. I disputed the claim. I don't even know if deleting the video would take care of it, but I kind of don't want to do that just on principle. So I disputed the claim because it's fair use.
I'm going to head to Athens, and me and the Olympic Committee we're gonna...
Look, Android Central is like the least of the IOC's concerns, right? That group is so screwed up anyway. So we will see what happens. If all of our videos disappear, I think we'll know why, and that would really suck. I hope we have backups. But yeah, so a little bit of excitement on Friday afternoon, and not of the good kind. So anyway, Alex Doby, Andrew Bardick, Jerry Hildenbrand.
Hello.
Hello. Howdy.
How's everybody?
Well, we were fine until you just really brought us down.
Well, until the IOC
right?
ruined our day.
Yeah, your
I
tales
know.
of Olympic woe.
It's so unlike me to be a downer. So we're back from Barcelona. We've been back for a little more than a week now. Andrew and Alex and I were over in Spain for a few days. People have asked how it was, and I described it as a very long, very quick trip all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think it's going to be the busiest, most action-packed, kind of in a good way and kind of also in a bad way, trade show that I've been to.
Yeah, totally.
There was a lot of stuff, and of course the biggest stuff was Samsung, but that on top of just the usual trade show stuff, I think it was a lot of stuff to cover. I think we got a lot of good stuff out of it, though.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a couple podcasts, just not a traditional AC podcast. So Alex and I did a Galaxy S5 special, as we've been doing for actually about a year now. We started doing just dedicated special podcasts for big devices. We did it for the GS4, we did it for the HTC One, we did it for the One Max, for the Note 3. So we're gonna continue doing that. And we did that from Barcelona, and then we did a Mobile Nations podcast with everybody. Like our last night, we're trying to get packed and get ready to come home, and we did a podcast at the last minute. So that's where we've been. That's what we've been doing, and it's not that nothing has happened since then. So we actually kind of have quite a lot to talk about today, huh?
Yep.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to anything left over from MWC you want to talk about? Nope.
Can't we, I think. Well, I think that's just been covered and covered and covered.
I don't disagree.
I think we're going to have enough that's sort of, as these devices come out and as we see whatever HTC's been working on, there's going to be enough new stuff in the next few weeks. We already know the basics of, what LG's doing with the G Pro 2. I guess you saw more of that this week. We saw what Sony's doing, and of course we saw what Samsung's doing. So maybe get to the device we actually have in hand.
Okay.
You have in hand.
I have the LG G Pro 2. Brought one home with me. How about that?
The Big Daddy with the nice rear.
I should. Well, thank you. Oh, you meant the phone.
I meant you.
So, number one, I just said the name of that phone correctly because I've been trying to say G2 Pro forever. Alex and I were there at this hotel in Barcelona shooting on this really cool, it's not a balcony, I guess it's like a roof deck almost. And we're outside shooting, and I kept saying G2 Pro, G2, like 6 times in a row, and finally somebody from LG came out. I'm like, why did you name it that?
I think Optimus slipped in there a few times as well.
Yes. Oh my God. That's what it was. I kept saying Optimus, and I finally quit doing that. Now you get me to do it again. Check it out. I love these phones. I love these Korean phones.
Oh yes.
It's got an antenna. I got to back up so you can see the whole antenna.
A little mini fishing pole.
How awesome is that? I mean, just so you can watch TV. They've got a cool TV app, but of course it doesn't work here. It only
But
works
you
in
could
Korea.
do more than TV. You could sword fight. You could go fishing. Those need to be on every phone, even if they don't work.
The engineers hate it. And actually, they said not as many people are using the over-the-air TV in South Korea as they used to because streaming has just gotten so good. So we'll see. Maybe they can get rid of it. So here it is. I've got. You want to see it next to a Note 3? It's just a tad bigger than the Note 3. The Note 3 feels fine. There's nothing wrong with the Note 3, but this just has more curve to it to the back. So I think I like that a little better than the Note 3. I'm totally in love with the buttons on the back, guys.
Once you get used to them,
And it doesn't take that long to get used to. But yeah, once you try them,
I will never get used to them.
Oh,
that's just I tried. I mean, maybe it's just because the G2 I got had really weirdly styled buttons, but it's just too hard for me to get used to them. I mean, the other buttons on the side make so much sense that it just doesn't make sense to put them on the back. Yeah.
I like the buttons. I like the buttons a lot. The other thing I really like on this phone, and see if I can show it here, is knock code. So you remember before they had knock on, where you tap it twice and the screen would turn on. It doesn't work here, but that's because it has knock code turned on. So that's you actually can do a code of you tap it certain ways and then it will unlock. So I think my code right now is dun 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 dun. See if I can do it without looking.
Nope.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it might not even be turned on because I had to pull the battery.
Womp,
I think that's what it is. Yep, that's what it is. Knock code works a lot better when the phone's turned on, so we'll let that boot up. But the way it works is you have a 2x2 grid, and then you choose as few as 2 points, as many as 8, and you hit them in whatever order you want. You can go left, right, you can go up, down, whatever, diagonally. And so there are 8. I think it's 86,367, something like that. There are more than 86,000 combinations that you can do with this.
So it doubles as security as well as a quick.
Exactly. So here it is, right? And you can do it with the screen on or off, right? So I'll do it with the screen off so you can really tell. So again, double tap, doesn't do anything. If I go dun 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 dun, nope, that wasn't it. Dun 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 dun. And it turns on.
Gloop, gloop.
And it unlocks.
Oh,
Right.
nice wallpaper.
Yeah. How about that? I stole that out of the Android Central app. Ooh, the sun came out. Hang on, somebody talk. I gotta close my blinds.
So LG is so this isn't just the G Pro 2. We should note this is coming to even the lower end devices like the new L series and the G2 Mini, and I think the G2 with some kind of software updates. It's going to get it as well, and it works the exact same on all the devices, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
It's basically everything except the super low end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you buy an LG phone, that's going to be the trademark security that you get with it.
I'm curious how it's going to work on some of those smaller L and F series that don't have quite the battery, because it's a component that's always listening, and that'll be interesting to see. I don't think you'll have any problem on the G2 or better, because LG's been sticking fairly big batteries in there.
Hey, something else LG did, and they need to be commended for, is they got Android 4.0 4.2 on this.
Yes, but isn't it
Now-
a shame that we feel the need to commend?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm,
Well, and they still need to update all their other phones. That's the other thing.
that's the thing. How it's launching now with 4.4.2. How long are you gonna have to wait for the next update? And,
Right.
The
That's the
G2
question.
is still not got
Right.
4.4.2
The
everywhere.
the G Flex still launched with 4.2 on it.
Yeah.
I can check my.
Well, I mean, the
G2.
G Flex came out in November, so
Yes, and it still has 4.2 on it. 4.2.
all right.
Same.
The G Flex I don't think is the phone to point at though.
Yeah.
LG's not marketing it as their high-end must-have device.
Oh, not if you've seen AT&T commercials or
Well,
Yeah.
Beats Music commercials or the Ellen Show or anything like that. They think the G Flex is the hot stuff.
They're wrong. They're wrong.
No, they were given a phone and probably some money to show it off. Is what happened.
I mean, it's been in all the marketing materials for Beats Music, on all the AT&T commercials. It's just the top phone that they're using right now. They could very easily, be showing off the G2 in those commercials, but the G Flex is newer and they're marketing it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they didn't want anybody to buy it, they wouldn't put it up for sale and spend money marketing it.
Well, we'll see how quickly. Here's another question: was that an LG promotion or an AT&T promotion? We'll see
Hard
because
to say.
we don't have any carrier announcements yet for the G Pro 2, so I don't know.
Come on, T-Mobile.
I
Well,
imagine
AT&T was the only carrier for the Optimus Pro, G
Right.
Pro.
just for the G Pro. They dropped the Optimus name, which is screwing with all of us. I like it. I'm still not a fan of the huge phones, but again, and I think I've warmed up to the Note 3 a little bit as well. I prefer something smaller, but I would not, turn this down if somebody gave it to me.
I was pleased to go back to the Note 3 with something manageable after using these ginormous phones for the past couple weeks. The Note 3 is almost mainstream now.
It's a very small, or very medium-sized big phone.
Yep.
Well, I
and
mean,
it's-
after the Mega, everything
mhm.
is.
I mean, I guess, but at the same time, you look at how crazy it seems to use even a 5.2 with the original Note, and they've trimmed the bezels down, they've made it thinner,
Yep.
they've made it easier to hold with a more angular design. And it's just, the jump from a normal-sized phone like, say, the S4 to something like the Note isn't really so big these days.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, and I've said this in a post on the site, get snowed in for 2 weeks and not have to leave the house. You will learn to appreciate a great big phone that's like a tablet with a phone built in. You can do everything on it. If you don't have to carry it around, it's amazing. So I do see the draw for people that have no issues carrying it with them throughout their day. I get it now.
And especially with what Samsung's done with the S Pen stuff.
Right.
And they've done some really good things with that. So yeah, I mean that's the Pro 2. I'm looking for it. The software is meh, but I think it's just because there aren't that many bells and whistles, and it just looks different. And I'm not crazy about the design. It's just not as good, but it's totally functional. So, it's got mini view. I can show you that real quick.
It sounds like the G2 then. To me, I was impressed that everything works.
And you finally have a task switching button.
Yes, so and you can see it here because I added it. By default, you get the menu button, but I added in the task switching. You can add in Qnote and a notification button, which keeps you from having to pull down all the way up there. I mean, it's funny, they put in all these shortcuts for a big phone, and it's like, well, why don't you just buy a smaller phone? I don't know. But there's menu view. You can make it smaller, you can make it bigger. So it goes from, that's about 3.5 inches. You can go all the way up to 5 inches, just about. And it's fun. So it's a really nice phone. LG did a good job with it, I think. Looking forward to seeing if we get it here in the States. No
I like the
announcements
back.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see LG move away from that fingerprint blur mess that they've used the past few photos.
yet. Well, and this is just easier to hold with that little bit of texture on it. So, what else?
I want to hear Alex tell me about the Gear 2
Okay.
and how it compares to the original Gear and why I should want one at that huge price.
I mean, that's a tricky one. didn't spend a whole lot of time with it at MWC. I didn't use the original gear, so I used it at trade shows. I didn't. I never used it as my main smartwatch. But for me, the big thing that the Gear 2, and in particular the Gear 2 Neo, which is going to be cheaper, just a little bit thinner, just a little bit lighter, is you're slowly getting down to the sort of profile of the Pebble, which I think is entirely reasonable just to strap to your wrist. Doesn't look ridiculous. And if they get the pricing right for the Gear 2 Neo, that could be really kind of a compelling buy. Something that they've fixed the battery life on it. You now get up to 3 days versus up to just over 1 day. And you still get this good integration with all the Samsung stuff. You still need to be on a Samsung phone, of course, but if you're just a normal person buying a phone, that's less of a big deal than it is for us. So if you're the kind of person that is bought into the Samsung ecosystem, we've seen the improvements they've made to the software through the course of the Galaxy Gear's life, and the notification stuff, the lack of support for non-Samsung apps is less of a big deal now. I think that something like the Gear 2 Neo that's slowly moving away from all these issues we had with the first Galaxy Gear is going to be tempting, I think, for people who are picking up the S5.
Now, when you use it, you don't get big flashing alerts that say "warning, teasing, warning, teasing." It's just like using the other one, right?
Hey, didn't we? It
looks identical, doesn't it?
Didn't we find out that it's Tizen?
It's Tizen, yeah. According to Wikipedia, it's Tizen.
Oh, well, and the operating system could have written that, so you don't know if that's true.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it looks and acts exactly the same as the Galaxy Gear, just no full Android build on it. It did feel a little laggy, and I don't know if that's early software or just trade show jankiness or what. So that's something to look out for.
The Galaxy Gear was kind of laggy as well in Berlin, and then they fixed that before launch, so who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. Speaking of watches, guess what else happened today?
Pebble 2.0.
Pebble 2.0, and
for real now.
And it sucks.
You know what?
Yeah, it's kind of bad.
I've been running Beta 10. I didn't switch to Beta 11 yet. And on Beta 10, I have not had a single force close. I went ahead and uninstalled and installed the version from Google Play. Son of a gun, force close.
I wasn't, I stayed away from the betas because I knew how beta they were. And It wasn't like beta, here's a finished product, we'll just let you try it. It was hardcore beta. I put Beta 11 on, I guess, Sunday. When did that come out? Sunday or Monday? And I still was not impressed. I mean, it looks better. Here, I got it sitting here on this phone. It looks better. It's got the App Store in it, which is not unimportant, and also I think even more important is it allows you to run apps that are built on SDK 2.0.
Right.
But it's not good. I mean, I get blank screens. I get.
Don't show the back of that phone. People see the two cameras, though.
Stop it. One camera. Only one camera, guys. I do hands-ons from my bed. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I mean, it's got more stuff. It's good, but it's slow.
The one thing I noticed was that the setup process was actually much more friendly than it was in the original app. It takes you through, it double checks that the Pebble is updated in the firmware, it tells you what apps you have installed for the Pebble that won't work now. Mine was, I had Canvas, wouldn't work. And it's just a little more friendly. Then you get into the interface and it says, oh, look at these apps that you should install. I said, oh, Foursquare, cool, and I click it. And I sign in, and then I've never gotten Foursquare to work. Whether or not you actually want Foursquare on your watch is a little different. And then you go through the interface, it stutters, and you switch screens, and it stutters, and it's kind of like, how much longer do they need to wait to make it good and release it good the first time? I don't know.
And the UI, the weird thing is, the UI itself looks good. The sort of style they've got going on is a lot more Android than the old one was, but. Yeah, there's no excuse for splash screens for this kind of app. There's no excuse for laggy scrolling and weights jumping between pages in this kind of app. It is. I kind of liken it on Twitter to using the old Android market back on 2.1 or whatever. Is that kind of slowdown that we haven't really seen in a high-profile Android app in a good few years.
I can't even read. You get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get like 10 characters in the name of the app, of the title of the app, before it cuts off. Like, what good is that?
Well, no, the good part, Phil, is for errors like that, and with the performance switching from view to view.
That's fixable.
That's all server side.
Sure.
That's easy to fix when you find exactly what you need to fix.
This app should not have been put out in this form.
Agreed completely. But
Pebble's a better company than that. That's the hard truth.
I think this should have just been beta 12 in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I get that they got to put something out eventually, I guess, and that they screwed up and said it would be out very soon, which was not a good idea.
That was the only place they dropped the ball, was setting the expectation, that high and then taking so long.
Yeah,
but if I buy a Pebble now and this is the official Pebble Android app, that's a way worse user experience than it was 24 hours ago.
What really kills me is even the iPhone app sucks. Ask somebody with an iPhone that uses it. It's slow, it's janky, the same sort of things we see. It stutters, things you need to do it 2 or 3 times before it actually takes effect. And the old version was great on both Android and iOS. And we moved from something that everything worked to something that's a little bit of a mess.
It just looks nicer doing it.
Yeah, that's arguable. All. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how long it takes them to fix it.
Yep.
To fix the...
And you know what? If they fix it quickly and fix it well, I mean, good deal. Everybody makes a dumb decision once in a while.
Yeah, look, and I would not recommend the phone right now, or the watch. But...
You know what? I would.
Yeah?
I would say don't. That app is so bad, and you can't get the old version of the app now. Don't buy it. Wait.
Just wait.
And I hate doing that. I hate it because I like the Pebble.
Oh, you know what else I found out this week? I don't know. I think I mentioned it once or twice in a couple posts, but I've right where the glass and metal meet. I talked about how it was rough, and I could definitely feel the edges. That's not supposed to be that way. That's a definite manufacturing defect on my watch. So I talked to somebody from Pebble a couple weeks ago, and absolutely, that's if your watch is like that, get in touch with them and RMA it because it's not supposed to be. And I felt one that's right. And it feels so much better.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
show that
that's
again.
good.
Huh? Show that again.
So
show your watch again. Oh.
What?
It's beautiful.
Oh, you just want to see the watch. I thought there was something on the screen that you wanted to.
No, I just wanted to see the watch.
Here, I'll show off one of my kids.
I'm waiting. Oh, there. See, that's awesome.
Yeah, see, I mean, I love being able to put my kids on the watch. That's fun. And they steal my watch when I'm home, and I flip through it. I love this watch. I really do. It's just a shame, the app was not in good shape.
And the firmware seems solid, from what I can tell, just in a few minutes of playing around with it on the first-gen Pebble.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what you're using most of the time. So it's not a total loss.
You want to do some Q&A questions before we change subjects?
Always.
Sure.
Sam writes, Phil, your Nexus Q looks lonely.
At least it's plugged in.
Oh, what a lonely boy.
If anybody knows of a hack to make it do the proper colors, it's not connected to anything, it's just plugged in, but if anyone knows a hack, let me know.
Down, left, right, A, B, start.
Oh, stop.
Well, did you try?
No.
Oh, we'll see.
People finally started coming into my office and were like, all right, we give up. What is that thing? And I tell them, it's really cool. I said, yeah, it was $300, and here's all it did. Oh, well, never mind.
Wait, you didn't lie and say it was something that captures brain waves and reads thoughts or something?
It's got a camera hidden in it.
Yeah, you should have at least went there.
See if I get this name right. Harvinder. I bet it's got it. Says, hi guys, I've got a Moto G, which I really like with KitKat. Why can't I uninstall some of the software that's pre-installed? Like Google Drive, Google Newsstand, Google Play Music, Google Hangouts, or Google Play Games. Can't they just have it as an option on the Play Store? Yes, Google has bloatware as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
just happens to be something we like.
At the time they were owned by Google, they still had to play by Google's rules. That means including the entire Google Mobile Services package.
Everybody has to.
That is a part.
Yeah.
If you want the Play Store, you get the rest.
Yep.
You can disable them, but
sure. But like Google Earth, not something I really want to use on a phone. It certainly takes up room.
To their credit, they yanked Google Earth. Now they just need.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, Google Earth is on some stuff, but not.
Okay.
They need to pull Newsstand off. I'm sorry. I kind of like the app, but a lot of people don't need it, don't want it. That's the next one that needs to go. And then play music that only works in like 4 countries. Let's get rid of that.
Oh man, did you see Samsung's new Milk which is a dumb name
Yeah.
for actually a really good music service because it's powered by Slacker. And I've loved Slacker for a long time. Really, if you've never tried Slacker, try Slacker. Now it's just basically wrapped in a really nice interface. It's not bad and I tell you, it's just one more service that Samsung is getting behind, and I like it versus what was their music download store called?
Hub thing.
Music Hub, whatever it
They
was.
just had a music hub in the Samsung store.
Yeah,
I got $75 free credit for that and can't use it because there's nothing I want.
right.
You know?
No, this is just one more thing that Samsung's kind of doing their own thing for,
Yeah.
and you're going to see it on phones. And
But I thought Google sold Motorola, so Samsung would never, ever, ever do that.
yeah, I thought Google and Samsung had a meeting where Samsung said
I
to
mean,
behave and whatever.
If that happened, then this milk thing would have been so far along. We're talking 2 months if the reports are right between now and this meeting. So, anything that comes out of that affects future Samsung strategy is going to be middle of the year or later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah. Daniel writes, what do you guys think about AT&T rolling out LTE Advanced? I approve.
I think it's a buzzword right now because
Yeah, when they do.
Yeah.
it doesn't actually. It's just technically LTE Advanced because they're using carrier aggregation, which brings together two separate pieces of spectrum. I think Rogers in Canada has been doing this for a long time. The Asian carriers have been doing it for a long time. Some of the European carriers have too. And it's just out of necessity. It's not necessarily going to offer. It doesn't increase the bandwidth available on AT&T. It's just more efficient when you do that. Once phones come out to support it.
But
Just be
imagine
grateful they're not calling it 5G.
Yes.
Yeah.
And imagine how fast it'll be when you're running on ART.
Blew my mind right there, Phil.
With enhanced backhaul.
I'm kidding. ART with enhanced backhaul.
I don't know.
Well,
It's just. Go ahead, Jerry.
You know what I think? I think that AT&T and Sprint made huge mistakes by overselling. Well, maybe overselling isn't the word, but by emphasizing how great this is and the speed you can get, whereas the Asian carriers and Rogers, they just did it and it helps network congestion. I mean, hats off to Rogers for doing it right. AT&T and Sprint does something very similar with Spark, and they're making all these promises and all these predictions of how great it is, and they're not coming through with it. I mean, AT&T, how do we know what it's like? Because it doesn't work with anything yet.
Right. You can buy a hotspot and live in Chicago, and then you can maybe see it.
Maybe. I don't know.
I just like to complain.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan
off
wants
my
to
grass.
know. Ryan wants to know, do you think there will be any major Android Hangouts app improvements, such as voice integration, or bringing it on par with the iOS app prior to Google I/O? Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
So now, didn't they say that Google Voice integration was coming in March? Wasn't that the benchmark before?
Did they say March?
Pretty sure they said
Yeah.
March.
And you've
I
got to
know
It's
remember
now
how-
March.
When voice calls hit iOS, I asked around, and all I was told is that voice calls is just about all that iOS is going to get on the feature side. Look for a lot more in Android, and it takes a lot more time to get it incorporated.
And also remember how bad Hangouts was on iOS before. It was pretty
Yes.
crappy. It was still using the old iOS 6 style. The app itself just wasn't anywhere near as good as the Android app. So, less work to bring it up there, maybe fewer features, easier to push out. I guess we're going to
I'm
get some more stuff on Android later on.
I'm afraid they're going to. Their idea of integration with Google Voice is you can use a Google Voice number to get SMS through Hangouts, and the voice app is just gone.
That's not. We
That's
hope
less than
it's
ideal.
something. We hope it's something along the lines of making Google Voice not suck. Just in general, would be a great start. And then
I mean, I don't know if I would hate getting my Google Voice messages through that. I mean, that wouldn't be the end of the world.
maybe one
probably.
less app tab installed at
Yeah,
least.
exactly.
I like having the app, though, the dedicated app, because if you use two numbers on the same phone, I have a Google Voice number that I give out for people who want to know my phone number, and my own number for my kids and my wife and my friends.
Which one do I have?
You have the Google Voice number. That's so you can get a hold of me on any phone.
No, okay.
But I do think you have my other one as well.
I probably do.
And if you keep two separate numbers on a phone, it's nice to have two separate apps to keep them separate.
I do like how the integration is more like Gmail, so I can go back and find sent texts even if they're in a different thread, and so that's nice. You know what I really want is, and we need to write something. We need to demand this. Everybody needs to demand this. We need a better desktop Hangouts app.
The Chrome extension is so bad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Chrome extension is functional, but we need something that
I don't
is
know about
good.
that.
Like Flamingo. Flamingo is not a bad app, but it doesn't support group, and that's not the app's fault. The API doesn't do group messages, so you can talk to one person and that's it. But God, we need something. Like if we only get one thing out of Google I/O, that's what I want.
It's going to run sort of contrary to Google's strategy to have a separate app, though, when they really want to be pushing everyone towards Chrome. And if they do a separate app, that means they have to do something separate for Chrome OS, which is just Chrome anyway, and they already have the Chrome extension. So maybe we just need a better Chrome extension.
That's what you're going to get. Alex hit it right on the head. Google's not going to build a separate app for Mac and Windows. They want to push you to the cloud in Chrome.
Yeah, but it's just not a good experience.
No, man, look, it took I tried to put some sort of joke meme in our little group hangout, and it took all of 5 or 6 minutes to post a 100K file, and it does that kind of stuff regularly.
You know what? Actually, it's not horrible on Chromebooks.
No, it's not.
It's the biggest issue that I have with it running on a Mac is the window management. It just gets really weird, and it gets stuck down on the side. You could undock them, but then they get kind of wonky too, and they get hidden behind your Chrome window, so you can't see them.
Did you ever bump two Hangout windows together on your Mac and watch them turn into a black space hole?
No.
Yeah, because they attach to each other, and then you can't detach them, and it's bad.
I think we all agree that just Chrome in general on Mac has not been a good experience for a while.
Yeah.
Just definitely compared to Chrome OS and probably compared to Windows as well.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't have any solution for that. I'm just pointing it out.
Like most things
I
we talk about.
have a solution.
What's that?
Samsung's Chromebook 2.
No, it runs an ARM processor. It's not going to be any better.
Oh, hush.
You know it's true, though.
Don't make me. Yeah, I know it's true. ARM processors on Chrome.
Yeah, so Samsung came out with 11-inch and 13-inch Chromebooks that they, put the same fake stitching and plastic on the back as the Note 3 and the new tablets. They look like the really nice Samsung Ultrabooks. They have that kind of teardrop shape in the side, and they look really nice, but they're running new Exynos 5 processors, and they're just going to be slow like the other ARM ones, and it's kind of disappointing.
We assume they're going to be slow. Maybe Samsung has some sort of new magic.
They could. I mean, I don't doubt that they're going to be faster than the other Exynos 4 ones. Obviously, they're going to step it up a big time from the one they released in 2012, I think. This Series 3 or whatever it was, that was kind of a dog. So these ones, maybe they'll be better. They're slightly more expensive, right? They're like $350 and $399, which that's a pretty high price to command. I know the higher one has a 1080p screen, which is kind of nice because we don't see that on the Chromebooks. But I don't know. Well, I want to try one and see how it shapes up to the Acer with the Intel processor.
And I think Phil will agree with me. Once you use Chrome OS, which is really lightweight, on something like the Pixel with a Core i5 in it, you want that type of fluidity from every Chromebook, and you're just not going to get it.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Now, Pixel. Did I just shrink? I gotta stand back up. I was sitting in my chair. Yeah, Pixel ruins you for everything else.
I mean, even the Acer C720 runs Chrome better than my MacBook Air does, and that was $249. So something that was $500 with like Ultrabook specs in it would be pretty much the holy grail, or $600 even. Not something with an ARM processor.
6 is pushing it.
Yeah, I don't think Google's going to be able to sell a Chromebook for $500 or $600. I just don't.
I don't think Samsung's going to be able to sell one for $400 either. So
Maybe.
We got to talk about, and I will lead this into a couple more Q&A questions. I just lost one. Ryan Saldana wants to know the GooPhone M8 or the quote all new HTC One. If you haven't seen it, yes, the new HTC One or the all new HTC One. I swear that's not going to be the proper name, guys. It's just going to be HTC One. I don't know officially, but I'm just saying. Yeah, ignore the GooPhone thing, whatever. It leaked out again. I don't know how many more times we're going to see this phone before the 25th, but some kid unboxed it on his bed or something, and hopefully parents didn't disown him. Actually, I haven't even watched it yet for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to spoil my own kind of first impressions of it when I finally get to see it. And I don't have it here. Haven't seen it. Don't know anything about it. And two, I just don't want to condone kids getting their parents in trouble and doing my job for me badly. Think about
Fair
that,
enough
boys and
point.
girls.
Fair enough points.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to do a bad unboxing, I'll do my own. God knows I've done plenty of bad ones.
Well,
I don't know.
I knew we had to post it. I mean,
No,
something
no,
that big.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But yes, I felt the first thing I said is, man, I feel bad for this kid's parents.
Yep.
I almost hate posting this and being part of the group that is going to get one or both of his parents or somebody in some deep shit for letting him get a hold of that phone.
Yep.
But you kind of knew that the second it happened, you saw, somebody downloaded it and re-mirrored it on YouTube like 150 times, and it's just never going to go away after he puts it up once.
The damage is done the second he uploaded it.
Yeah.
At that point, it just had to play out.
This is
and
the internet.
by the way, people are saying that, this 13, 14-minute hands-on that we've seen everything of the new HTC One now. We know what it's going to be, and I guarantee you from experience that is not the case. They're going to, even assuming that was anywhere near the final device, which is not necessarily the case. There's still a lot that we don't know about this thing. We don't know what the cameras are going to be doing. We don't know half of the new stuff in the new Sense. There are going to be surprises, I think.
Right.
And I'm more excited than ever because I switched back to the HTC One in the middle of MWC because I'm crazy like that. and you know what? I'm glad. God, I miss those speakers. The speakers are so good. It can't say enough like how much that just changes the experience of using a phone. I don't want to say it makes it like enjoyable and I want to sit here like this all day long, but I really want something like that in like a 7-inch tablet now. I really wanted that a year ago too, actually. But
Tegra Note 7, man. Killer front-facing speakers on a $150 tablet. Yeah.
I might have to think about it.
People don't give it any credit.
Why?
Because it feels really cheap and crappy. I'll be dead honest. Made of really hard plastic, like the kind of plastic you cut open to take something out of the package. Ugly, glossy, crappy plastic.
It's the build quality is weird. You have all this high-end stuff on the inside. You have the really nice-looking screen in the front, the great speakers, and the back of it just looks like a shoe.
Yep. And that's going to hold it back. You're not going to want to spend $150 on it when you touch it, unless you are a nerd that knows what's inside.
I'm excited. I'm excited for HTC. I'm excited for us. I'm excited for something that's not a Samsung phone. I'm excited to talk about something that's not the Moto X and to have people yell at me, you're ignoring everything else and you're just talking about the HTC One. And
I found myself, I switched away from my Moto X. I want to kick myself every day, but I found myself in a rut.
Yeah,
all this other stuff going on, and I don't know anything about it because I'm sitting there in the dark calling it my precious and talking to it and telling it to do it. That just wasn't conducive to my job, so I put it away.
Well, and let's warn everybody again. We're going to cover the hell out of the GS5 this year because that is the phone that so many millions of people will be using, and it would just be dumb for us to ignore it. And frankly, we ignored the GS4 far more than we should have because it wasn't our favorite phone because we as smartphone fans, had phones that we liked better, and that
and we
certainly
got to stop.
Yeah, I mean, and Jerry's going to have to use the Galaxy S5 all year while I use
I want
the
a gold
HTC
one,
One.
baby. You buy me a gold one, and I'll use it and love it.
Now you like that color?
It's different. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah.
As long
I
as
think
it's
I
not the
like
blue
the
one.
blue. Well, I
No.
think I like the
blue
blue.
a lot. The blue is really nice, and the brown, the gold brown one, it does not look like a Band-Aid. That was such a lazy whatever. Like it really does not look bad at all. I think this is going to be another one of those phones. People see it in the beginning and they see the renders, and somebody makes one bad joke, and suddenly it's cool to just. And who is it, Alex or Derek, or who wrote that piece? It's just cool to be down on Samsung now.
It was Derek.
I think people are going to get this phone, get the Galaxy S5, and really, really like the back of that thing.
I think
I'm
people.
hoping.
Sorry, go ahead.
Let me finish because I don't want to like totally get off HTC and get back on Samsung. But I think people are going to get the HTC One, and hopefully more people will get it this year and think the same thing. They're like, "Holy crap, where's this been all my life?" In kind of an extension of what Motorola's been doing with the backs of these things. Again, the way phones feel is just so much more important, I think, than what apps are preloaded and how these things fit in your hand. To me, it's a big deal.
Yep.
I'm okay now.
And it's the
Well
same
said.
thing every time I pick up this HTC One.
Yeah.
Every time I see, if I've been away from it from a couple of weeks or whatever, using a different phone, pick it up. Just the look and the feel of it makes you want to start using it again.
You know what? I still think, out of all the phones that we've been through and the ones I've either handled or handled vicariously through you guys, the HTC One is still the phone that I would not be afraid to recommend to anyone.
Yep.
So that's saying a lot.
I'm excited.
Me too, and I don't get excited about mainstream phones. I like ones with antennas or Band-Aid
Dude,
backs. But,
Yeah, and I wrote a few hundred words on that. I'm looking back through our link list of things to talk about, and I really did mean that. And I know I say this over and over when I forget what else to talk about, but it's such a good time. Such a good time for smartphone. You almost can't go wrong if you're willing to not spend, not fall for one of those $50 deals and sign a contract.
Yeah.
Spend the extra
Look,
money,
you know-
get an HTC One, get a Moto X, get a GS5. Like, get a high-end phone, and you're going to be happy.
there's a dark horse this year if it can make it to the U.S.
Yep.
The Z2. Man, I haven't touched it, but I've gotta.
It's nice. They fixed. I mean, we did a post on the fact they've got rid of the anti-shatter film, the fixed screen protector, and unless you've used a Sony phone, you don't really appreciate what a huge difference that makes to the feel of it. Because with the previous design, with the Z1, the Z, you had this glass and metal phone. The front and back felt like plastic. It didn't feel terrible, but it just didn't feel like glass. So now with the glass front, the glass back, the metal band, and of course the Z1S didn't have metal, it was plastic, so that was more plasticky anyway. If this can make it to the US, I think the rumor at one point was Verizon. We haven't heard anything on that since the initial rumor.
Well, that's might as well just be available in
Yep,
Europe.
I'm buying Sony stock. No, if it hits Verizon, I'm buying Sony stock.
Well,
not the phone,
buy
just
the
the
European
stock.
one. Buy the European one, import it, and use it on T-Mobile.
Yeah.
It'll work.
I want us to be sure and write more about Sony this year, too, because that's one folks have had a lot of questions about.
Sony brought a flagship to the United States with the Z1S. I procured one as soon as it's shipping. I'll have it here just because of that. I've said bring them to the U.S. When they did it, I figured I better buy one.
Yeah.
After all the noise I've made, and expect to see lots of it and hear me talk about it.
But they still need US carrier deals. It's going nowhere in the US, just staying on the unlocked Sony store. If they want to make a big impact, they need a Verizon, or they need to get back with AT&T. I would even say they can't really make any significant inroads just releasing a 6-month phone on T-Mobile. That's not going to cut it.
No.
And they need to keep the carriers from screwing with it. I forget what the last one was that they did on AT&T, but it was not good.
Yell, which is like a weird version of the T with terrible battery life.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like that, and it was really weirdly redesigned or something.
Yeah. It's not 2010 anymore. You can't get away with that now.
No.
You just can't. So. See, any more questions in here? No. No.
Oh, somebody says, let's see, Justin says, does the Galaxy S5 back feel like the 2012 Nexus 7? I asked because it looks almost identical. I think yes, it feels very similar, but not the exact same. I think I didn't have the Nexus 7 2012 side by side, but I think the Nexus 7 was a little softer.
Yeah, the Nexus 7, the old Nexus 7 is definitely a little bit more rubbery, whereas this is, I want to say it's, you say plasticky, people think shiny, glossy plastic. It's not glossy in any way, but it's definitely more plastic. You can tell it's a plastic shell as opposed to like a thicker back like the 2012 Nexus 7.
But it's definitely... Go ahead, Jerry.
Which means it probably won't turn blue in your back pocket.
Right.
Hopefully.
It can't be too soft or it'll pick up things, but it definitely feels more tactile. It's not as slippery as the GS4.
Definitely.
Yep. And I love the idea of them adding the waterproofing in from the active.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing.
It's going to be interesting. I'm not looking forward to that, plastic flap thing covering the charging port, though.
Yeah.
And they didn't do what Sony does, which is, I guess wireless charging would be another way around that. They don't have that yet, although I'm sure there'll be an add-on for that. But then they don't have the magnetic thing on the side like Sony does, so you can keep all the ports closed, just dock it in, and you're not fiddling with things.
We'll have to pop through all the pictures we took of it and find one of the back. If we have a picture of the back cover off, it's really
yeah,
easy
we do.
to tell. If there's 4 gold contacts on the back.
Yeah, we already know they're doing wireless charging backs.
Oh, okay.
And full gold contacts on the back. So yeah,
They just didn't say when or how much.
Yeah.
we didn't see just the straight up wireless charging back. We saw a wireless charging SVU case.
But
so
if they put the contacts on the back, the contact points are there, and that means third party can make them too.
Exactly, yeah.
Sorry, I'm sitting here playing Quiz Up now. How's that for a segue, boys and girls? Have we all been sucked into that game now?
I just beat Jerry before the podcast started.
Yeah, that's all right.
I beat him a couple times in the Android category, and he's like, "Oh yeah, watch this," and he pulls in like marine mammals of the northern hemisphere, and just kicks my butt.
Yeah, I've been getting beat up in world news pretty hard.
We'll have to try that. That'd be a good one.
They need a category that's just called beer. And the 4 of us will get in there, and we'll just take on the world.
It's fun. If you haven't tried it, play it. I guess, just search our names if you want to play against one of us or something?
Yeah, go to the Google Plus portion for when you're looking for friends, and as long as you have us circled, we're in there somewhere.
Is there a way to turn that off so I don't have people just challenging me all day?
If there was, I wouldn't tell you how to do it.
The funny thing is you can go into the settings and turn off all notifications and enable privacy mode or something it's called, but you still get notifications for when somebody you have circled joins QuizUp. And no matter what, you can't turn it off as far as I can tell, which is really annoying the first day.
A Google Play Games notification and not a QuizUp.
See, I can't tell because it has a little QuizUp button, but I can't tell if it's a Google Plus thing. Because I can tell it's Google Plus people because it just says, John has just joined QuizUp or whatever. And obviously it's really annoying the first day because everybody installed it, but still kind of annoying to wake up and you have 5 QuizUp notifications waiting.
I saw it's got in-app purchases for some sort of points booster, but I would never in a million years use that because it's
that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's literally pay to win.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to use it. I'm going to be the champion.
Gotta go legit, man. I haven't seen that. I haven't. Even
no, it's not for in-game points, but I think for your total standing.
Your
for
XP
getting the
at
other
the
levels.
end of the.
Yeah.
That's still pretty crappy.
Well, that's how you get a free game with no ads, right?
True.
QuizUp champion 2014.
Oh yeah.
All I need is $700.
Oh, it's $7. You can quadruple the amount of XP you get, so you'll level up faster.
Right.
Oh, see, I thought you could buy levels. Make it so I can buy levels.
That's pretty much close. Only $7 though.
That's not bad.
Well, Phil says tux, and God damn it, I want mine to say tux.
Well, play 10 levels.
But
that's all you got to do.
I've played a bunch.
I know, you got to keep going.
No. You've got to win as well, helps.
I want it to say tux right now.
No. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? We updated our app this week, by the way. Mostly bug fixes. We've got a few more features coming. I know the one everybody wants, which is swipe to go to the next story. Not going to be ready for this next version. That takes a little more work just because of the way the app works, I've been told. So sorry. That's something I really want to. But you're going to have to hang on a little longer. But we are absolutely still working on it and have some good stuff coming. So stay tuned for that.
And
And
email notifications for
blog comments.
comments. Yes, that's
Yes.
huge.
So that's not in the app yet. I've been
No,
told we should be able to add that in somehow. I'm not sure if you'll get notifications in the ad or like how that'll work. So stay tuned for that. But there will be some sort of app component for that.
In-app notifications would be sweet.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. But right now,
He's like, no, we're gonna back off of that.
Yeah, that's, just because I'm not quite sure how it works yet, so I don't want to say anything.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but right now on the blog, like in a browser, there's a little box you check that says, email me when somebody replies to my comment. So, and you can control that all you want. So when you get an email, there'll be a link there to click if you want to turn it off. And I think you can do it in your profile settings on the site as well. So keep an eye out for that if you haven't seen it already. Very cool. Glad we finally have that.
Is that retroactive? I keep getting people replying to comments that I made like 3 years ago. They have a legitimate question. I'd like to be able to answer it.
That's a good question. We'll have to ask. Ask Tom.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you turn that on by default, maybe it will.
Okay.
No, well, I just don't know. We'll have to see. Anything else? Are we done?
Google Now launcher. That happened since last time we talked.
Can we
It's
finally
on
quit
Nexus.
calling it the Google Experience Launcher now?
The gel, though. I mean, that was the thing.
Oh,
I could have swore.
Jelly. Feels jelly.
I still have no desire to use it whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah.
I
on
fired up
Mountain X?
well, it's not available, right? But
Well, I mean, siloed.
presumably they just, flip the switch in the back end and it just starts being available for the Moto X and the Moto G and
Yeah, and look,
whatever.
it works pretty well on just about anything Jelly Bean and up.
My thing is, I can swipe up from the bottom to open Google Now, or I can swipe over from the left to open Google Now. What's the damn difference?
The only thing for me was installing it on the Nexus 4 and the Nexus 7 to have the icons be larger like the
Okay.
Nexus
Yeah,
5 like I'm used to.
I get that.
So that it's similar going between the two things. The only problem I had with it, I don't know about you guys, but when I told it to import from the Google launcher, or the previous Google launcher, it didn't import properly. Like the icons and the settings and things.
It would be great if it popped up a dialogue that said, LOL, screw you, Martin.
it moves over, like, I installed in the Nexus 7, which of course has like 15 apps laid out and 3 widgets on the home screen. It didn't carry over any of the widgets and just carried over a handful of the apps in one folder.
And
So
that's all it's
not very useful.
That's all it's designed to do. It can't
Right,
do
but
widgets because nothing can do widgets.
It didn't put it in the right. It didn't even put the apps in the right place, and it lost
Oh,
a
okay.
couple of folders. So it was kind of annoying. But I mean, other launchers have problems with that too. You just would have think Google could have figured that one out.
Maybe.
If
Do you think we're going to
user
see it
account-
on non-Nexus, non-VP stuff?
No, I
Because
really
it could
don't.
easily happen, So it's
I
one flip.
don't, because I think when Google does that, that's like saying, hey, Samsung, come here so I can smack you in the face. and I just don't think Google's going to do it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, look at all the stuff they've done with just turning the Google search app into Google Now, and it just gets updated, and people have buttons to Google search on their Samsung phone or their HTC phone, and it's Google Now.
But that's not a one-click way to get rid of TouchWiz for all intents and purposes provided by Google. That's going to piss Samsung off if Google does it.
Very true.
Maybe. Actually, here's an interesting thing. I think we forgot to mention at MWC. So putting that's just a straight-up Google search bar anywhere in a launcher screen doesn't activate the OK Google keyword in the launcher, does it?
Right.
I think you have to have the Google Experience launcher.
Yeah, so that doesn't just work in any launcher because that works in Samsung's launcher
Yeah.
on TouchWiz on the GS5, which is kind of interesting. And it even tells you that in the search bar.
Yeah, you had mentioned
So-
that before. I thought that's really, really
Yeah.
interesting.
We couldn't really work out whether it's the only launcher to do that. We tried a few things. It didn't look like it was, but we weren't really sure. But if that's something that's actually built into the TouchWiz launcher now, that's kind of interesting.
Find out in a couple of weeks, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
An HTC. Let me double check. Is that working on LG? Doot, 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 doot. That's the sound it makes when you unlock. There is no search bar. Oh, there's a search bar. Okay, Google. Okay, Google now. Nope, that was the Moto X. And I don't have Google now. Quiet Moto X. Let's see. Initializing, speak now, so...
Because if it works in Google search but not in the launcher, then that's definitely a Samsung thing, it would seem.
Okay, Google. Okay, Google now. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Not on LG.
Interesting.
All right, I think that's it. I have no idea how long we've been talking. Probably almost an hour.
Shy of an hour.
Coming up on an hour, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next week everything will be back to normal.
No, the IOC is going to get this podcast taken down.
Phil will be in prison for stealing the Olympics.
You're going to Olympic jail, Phil.
Entirely possible anyway. Moto X, be quiet. Silence yourself.
Do you know how you can make it shut off? Say, what's up?
Oh, yeah. That is a great new feature, by the way. If you haven't seen that, the Moto X touchless control was updated. If you want to, you can email us at podcast@androidcentral.com. You can get us all on Google Plus and Twitter and all that stuff. Just search our names. That is the easiest way to do it. As we are every week, we are brought to you by shopandroid.com. You can call them at 888-468-6158 or just type on that internet thingy, shopandroid.com. I think that's it, boys and girls. Sorry for the trouble. Sorry for having to change URLs at the last second. I hate doing that because I know it screws things up, and it's going to create more work for me on the back end. So, yeah, that's really what it's all about, I think.
So bitter.
I know. All right, we're done. Catch you next week, I'm sure. See ya.
Toodles.
Later.
See you guys at it.